one's the best crypto asset? Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Which one's the best crypto asset? Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Which one's the best? 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 What's the second best?
Is the Bitcoin crash over? Are altcoins done breaking down to doomtown? Are we about to see that reversal? It's looking like we're seeing a little bit of a bounce in the charts. So we're going to be talking about that today. We got to ask, is this a bounce, meaning it's going to move up and then reverse and continue back down? Or is this actually a reversal setting up for those next legs higher? Because September was supposed to be such a red month, and it was red, but then it was green, but now it's red again. AKA the market is chopping the living heck out of everybody that's out there. So what I got to say is welcome to the show. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to Discover Crypto and BitLab Academy. My name is Kelly Kellum, and I'm happy to be here with you, breaking down the markets, breaking down the signals, what we're seeing. And I have a couple key altcoins that I think are setting up for some pretty major moves. So stay tuned for that. And I think one of them might be what you expect. I don't think so, though. And another one, I'm not even sure if I've ever even talked about. So you're getting that extra special sauce today on a day when the market feels quiet, the market feels flat. The emotions of this space, it feels like there's a vacuum in this room of the markets. There's just no excitement, not just our channel, but across the board. We're seeing just a lackadaisical approach in this market on a period where everybody should be hyper-focused. If the market is moving sideways, if the market is moving down, that is when you focus deepest on what is happening with fundamentals, on the assets that you're investing in and trading in this space, because that's when the best opportunities present. And when we look at what's going on right now in the space, especially with Bitcoin on the 1 hour chart, bro, oh my God, it was pushing up. That was it. But this was just a bounce, you see. And not only was it a bounce, let's go to the 4 hour chart. Notice that we have a lower low here followed by a lower high. But then the context is so overwhelmingly bullish. So let's zoom in on just this trend we're seeing right here. We have a W formation, the move to the upside, great. But then the breakdown again. However, what we're seeing here, if we're just looking at this portion right here, is a higher low that has potentially formed. We won't know this until this price action here gets up and basically goes back above that $118,000 mark. So what gives? What are we supposed to do? First off, we're supposed to remember to be patient in this market, because patience pays when you are investing in smart assets like Bitcoin, like Ethereum, and like many of the top altcoins out there, and even some of the meme coins that you all are paying attention to. They're all going to be driven by the liquidity and the excitement, the fervor or the fear that is happening in the Bitcoin asset as opposed to the rest of the crypto ecosystem. So we got to pay attention here. I do want to say shout out to everybody if you're tuned in, whether you're over here for whatever reason it's not streaming on Pump Fun, but I'm not sure why, but that's okay. On YouTube, on Discover Crypto, on BitLab Academy, on my page over there at Kelly Kellum. Make sure you're giving me a follow, which is right here at Kelly Kellum, KELLY KELLAM, and of course at Discover Crypto _. Make sure you're following along, because we are dropping alpha all day long, every day. I know what we all want to do is get the Roman Empire off our damn minds. The collapse of the Roman Empire, largely in part by bad government practices, also by monetary debasement. And yet we have this other opportunity here with Bitcoin and the crypto ecosystem. So let's make sure we don't mess this up, because what are we seeing right now? Kelly is always on it, says Joe Bro. Well, I appreciate you for saying that, because I was not feeling like streaming today, because I'm just like, but then I started looking at the charts. I'm like, there's something brewing. We got to bring it to the people. First off, we've been talking about this fear and greed index. This is finally getting closer to where I want it. Yes, it's here at 39, still kind of in that neutral zone, but I want fear. I want that frustration in the market. So are we going to bounce out of this without getting it? Maybe. Are we going to get another little bit of a washout to the downside that will be that spring-loaded push that we need before we move up? We've got to be prepared for what's going to happen, because when we're looking at the market, yet again, it feels like we live around that $4 trillion total crypto market cap. We've been breaking above it, hanging out below it, going back above it, and yet people are numb to the fact, and I'm just going to highlight this again. I've shared it before. People are numb to the fact that not so long ago we were down here at $2.6 trillion total market cap. Oh, we went a bit lower, $2.42 trillion total. Every dollar value within the crypto ecosystem was only at about $2.4 trillion not so long ago. This is that area on the day, I think the day before this, I called the reversal, and golly, did it play out, because it went from $2.4 trillion all the way up here to over 4 trillion up here to 4.17 trillion. That's up almost like 1.8, $1.7 trillion. I mean, that is a massive move to the upside. And yet people are worried right here when we're getting a little bit of pullback, but that's okay. Acknowledge your worry, acknowledge your fear, and ask yourself, what are you doing? Because when I'm looking at this, I'm seeing some signs, I'm seeing some signals. And what are these signs and signals? Well, let's put on the charts and realize we've talked about this. Falling wedge, these tend to break bullish. We got it. Rising channel, these tend to break bearish. We got it. So first off, the chart has been telegraphing the moves before they happened, and yet you're frustrated? Well, what was the next pattern that presented? Well, look at this breakdown. People a little bit worried that this could be a bear flag, but what has actually played out was a formation here of a bit of a descending, meaning it's aiming to the downside, descending, broadening wedge here, and these tend to break bullish. So we've gotten the break bullish out of this. Does this break bullish mean that we're going to continue moving up? Well, we got a couple exciting charts here, exciting, vibe with what we're seeing in the patterns, but we got to look at what the data is representing in addition to what we're seeing in the price action. So what do we see? Well, first off, we got a breakout that's bullish. Boom, up into this green line. Golly, what is that green line? Well, what do you do if you're in doubt? You zoom out. And so what do we see on that? That is the 0.382 fib. That is the 38.2% Fibonacci move from this entire trajectory that we saw from this high here all the way to this recent low here on this pattern that we're seeing, and the move up into the golden pocket. That's this 0.618. We can see right here. If we zoom in a little bit, I just know the colors of the lines. The 0.618, I told you as we pushed up into this, watch for a potential reversal here. What does the data say? Well, we had higher highs and we had lower highs on the RSI, right at a point where price tends to have some trouble. And what we get, bearish divergence and golden pocket rejection. Cool. Does this mean it's the end of the world? Well, let me just take you back down memory lane here and just see what that looks like. Well, first off, look at this. From the high here, this is back in April 2021, sold off, bounce, right? This is not a reversal. This is a bounce, continuation down. Ultimately, if we measure that Fibonacci, what do we get? We got to bounce up into the golden pocket. So in this trajectory, I just want you to pay attention to something yet. A lot of people were worried this was the top. We ultimately pushed just a little bit higher as the price rebounded and had trouble here, and then ultimately had continuation up to that all-time high of 2021. So what we're seeing here is a rejection at the golden pocket, a breakdown, bounce on the 382. Remember, this is a fib from up here all the way down here. So now rejection at this golden pocket. We know the fib is sort of warranted here. And now a bounce on the 382, and then we lost it. Ultimately, what we do? We lost the 382, rejected at it, pulled a little bit back, and then continued up. The problem with these charts that people don't understand is this is a 3-day chart. So this looks very simple. Well, let me put I don't even need to put a line because I'll know where it's at. But let's look at this on the 1 hour chart. If we zoom back in time, let's just zoom back in time over to, let's see, this is going to take a little bit of time to get on this right here. Where are we at? Let's get into 2021 right here. Here we go. This is that move. I don't even need the 1 hour chart. This is the 8 hour chart. Same spot, rejected, came down, bounced on the 382, lower high here. See this? Lower low, lower high, continuation down. But what happened here was we chopped around this 382, found some footing, and then launched. But what do you notice? The money flow came up very large here. And on the dip here, I mean, just an absolute blip on the radar down, and then an absolute move back up. But the RSI also came all the way down here, oversold territory, sub 30, all the way down to about 22, 21, and then a push back up, held hostage right here at that magic number that I've told you every single day. Pay attention on the time frames you're looking at. Is the RSI rejecting at the 50 line, which is if you're below this, that means the weakness is in control. If they're above this, strength is in control. So we got rejected here. And what happened? An attempt failed. An attempt failed. Same time, both times RSI failed here. Now we got the washout here where they tried to bring it down with the money flow coming out, trying to give signal. Sell because we're about to dump. And what happened? The RSI, this could not go down very much at all. And yet the money flow right here, look at that, just barely preceding this move. As we moved up, the money flow flips positive, and same time, the RSI is above the 50 line with a very steep angle of attack. The reason why I'm looking at this back in 2021 is because very similarly with where we're at in the cycle, some people are debating that it's a cycle top. Of course, it's a top because of 4-year cycle. Blah. I have talked about that. I don't want to say I've dismissed it, but when I'm looking at it from the landscape that we're in, now let's get down to the 1-hour chart. We see the same thing in some ways here. A breakdown, a rejection, the bounce here into a rejection at the golden pocket. We've lost the 382, which is this green line. So what are we seeing now? We see descending lows here, including the wicks, descending. That means the price is getting lower, lower, lower. So should we be scared? Okay, let's look down at the other data that is present. Let's not be victims of holding our stuff hostage because we're excited and we're scared. Those are not signals to take trades. Because you're scared, you don't sell. Because you're excited, you don't buy. That will wreck you in this market. So we see prices falling on the lows. Meanwhile, at the same period of time, we see, look at this, much higher highs on the strength. Strength is starting to take over here. And then at the same time, I just want you to notice the same period of time, we're seeing this curvature right here with the money flow. And what did we do? We kind of clipped right back into positive money flow here, meaning there's more money coming in than out. And at the same time, actually before this right here, we see the RSI actually takes back over this 50 line back where strength is trying. It's not yet fully in, but it's trying to be in control. So what are we looking at on this 1-hour chart? Well, first off, we have a breakout, retest, launch. But this is getting a little bit weak. Is that the end of the world? No. There's news every day that's shaking people back and forth, up and down, and all around. But we're seeing an increase in this appetite for Bitcoin across the board. Are we seeing some conflicting signals? Sure. Oh my God. One of the reasons why Bitcoin prices are weakened is whales are net selling. Okay. They're selling at the same rate, or I won't say at the same rate. They're selling at the same time and place where we're getting wider and wider and more numerable by the day. Capital channels, institutions, corporations, and governments stacking in. I see this more as a rotation of whales predominantly that are older whales, meaning people that bought not when they had $1 billion and they were stacking into Bitcoin, but when they had $1,500 and they took a long shot, because it kind of was a long shot back in 2009, 2010, 2011. For those that really understood the data was there, but there was no promise that Bitcoin was going to become what it was. Yes, the math was there, but would it have that viral effect and grow the way it was? Putting $1,000 in Bitcoin in 2010 and holding, this is the magic, holding it from 2010 all the way to today through the overwhelming violent shifts and swings and regulation and deregulation and the foot on the throat of the industry. You had to be an absolute genius or the luckiest person alive. And in fact, part of that luck could have been you lost your wallet for 7 years and then you found it and you're like, well, it's gone up this much. I know somebody that happened to. Bought $12,000 worth of Bitcoin in 2011. The wealth is insane, but it's also the only reason he was able to hold it is because he lost he lost his passwords on a Post-it note because there wasn't really a good process of security and, how to manage. And many years later, 4 or 5 years later, he found it. He said, well, wow, this is really taking off. I'm just going to hold. So in some ways, we're seeing a rotation of capital from old whales, 7 to 10 year old whales, into these new institutional and big money players. So this does not really scare me whatsoever, especially when we understand what is coming in this market. And then we look at this from Ted Pillows, shares this. What do we see? Well, first off, we're all talking about rate cuts. Bitcoin dumped nearly 12% after the Fed cut rates in 2024. Well, let's look at that. September 2024, that was that first rate cut. Well, let's look at where that is. September 2024 would have been about right here. September 20, this is going into that rate cut right here. And we had the sell-off. I mean, that was not, I mean, this was scary. It's like, it's going to break back down, right? Might have canceled that. And then we absolutely just went from 60 all the way up here into 111,000. Oh my God, sold off and then launched again. People keep getting scared it's over while the entire scenario just changed in favor of the asset. So when we come back over to this, what do we see? So about a 12%, the pump into the cut, right? We had the cut, boom, a little bit of a pump, and then the sell-off, shake people out. And then after the sell-off, boom, 58% rally. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen again, but if it were, that would put us up here, $160,000 to $164,000 Bitcoin. We just got the first rate cut. We're having a little bit of a pullback. We've seen this before. So when we're looking at Bitcoin on the 1 hour chart, which is the stupidest chart to look at unless you're just trading every day's motion, then it's a great chart. But most people have some form of investment in crypto when they have it that they're expecting to hold for a long term, but then they just get in a 1 hour chart and they do their entire analysis for their entire strategy based on the 1 hour chart, even though let's say 50%, 30%, even 10% that they're expecting to hold a long time. You can't use your trading strategy on your investment strategy. Those are two different things. So what I see here is a breakdown, cool, setting up on the bounce of this previous range, the push up here into a known reversal spot, a breakdown right into the neckline of this. And the story is now changing. Looking at the daily, money flow never even got down into the negative on the money flow here on the daily chart. The RSI is a little bit of a different story. RSI is not quite given us any signal yet, other than it came down below the 50 line and is now trying. It's not quite it's not back in the strength territory yet, which we can feel in the markets. So what we're feeling right in here is this hesitation of, is it going to bounce? Is it going to actually be a full reversal? And you have to make that decision yourself. I'm leaning towards probably a couple more days of some frustrating price action. We got the breakdown here, a move up here. I'm expecting a little bit of trouble in this zone, maybe even another move back down into the 112 to 112 to 112.6, somewhere in this region here. Let's go back to the 1 hour. Somewhere down in this region right here, and then a continuation to the upside. But as it stands right now, we got the money flow up. The RSI is back above 50, but remember, this is a 1 hour chart. So you cannot look at the 1 hour chart and project what's going to be over, the next week or two. This is what's going to project what's going to happen over the next, the setup for potential what's going to happen over the next 6 to 12 hours. On the daily, we're still relatively healthy, except for this scary move right here with the RSI. Now, continuing on, we got a couple other things that we want to look at here, and that is this. What's going to influence this bullish or bearish narrative? Well, first off here from Eleanor Tourette, the SEC on Monday has announced the agenda for panelists of its roundtable. Why is this important for crypto? Because when you look at some of these names on here, we have the SEC chair, we got different acting chairman, SEC commissioner, but then we also have things like what? We got, Citadel, Wisdom Tree, Crypto.com, Robinhood Markets, Bank of America, JP Morgan. Then what else we got? We got some other stuff here. NASDAQ on the same panel with Kalshi and Kraken and Intercontinental Exchange, along with the CME Group, Polymarket. This is the mix mash of major players in the crypto ecosystem, along with juggernauts in the banking and trading ecosystem, stock exchange ecosystem, as well as the regulatory bodies out there that are all saying, hey, crypto, go run. You're free. And people are worried right now. I don't give a hoot what happens in price action if it's to the downside in the next 2 weeks, other than I'm thankful I am buying. So I am on the side of thinking that we are going to bounce hard here. And actually, even with a little bit smaller wiggle around in the immediate zone that we're in this immediate zone, I do think this is going to resolve to the upside. Now, we got a couple other things I wanted to highlight here, and that is some other altcoins, right? One of those coins is Eigen. Have you guys been looking at Eigen and understanding what some of the things that are going on? They partnered with Google last week. They partnered with the biggest telecom company in Japan. And when you look at the chart, let's actually pull that up real quick. I have it somewhere, right? Yeah, right here. When we look at this chart, I just want to highlight something for you that is overwhelmingly bullish. So when we're looking at this, let's look at it on the 3-day chart. Massive inefficiency, right? I don't want to say ignore that, but this is, this is that listing. Boom, cool. Nice push up, a little sell off, a continuation, new high, much low. You see the size of this, how much smaller this is. Okay, we had a sell off in the market from December. Remember that run up we had? It's not Eigen that really failed here. The market in general had a pullback. But what happened from this is the formation that I see, which is beautiful. We have rising lows here, low, higher low, higher low, higher low. And we have this flat level of resistance, which is this previous range right here. See this bouncing, boom. Also where this rejected. And yet right here, it attempted to wash people out with the rejection and then just slingshot right through it. So what I'm seeing here, and this pattern is known as an ascending triangle, when the base, the support level is rising and your resistance level is flat, these tend to, knock, that one of these knocks is going to shatter through this and have that continuation of the upside. And consider what's happening right now with the capital awareness in the altcoin ecosystem, and then back again to partnerships with Google and Japan and telecom. This isn't just EigenLayer. This is Ethereum. This is Chainlink. This is XRP. This is Cardano. This is, you go through the litany of different assets out there. Ondo. The type of partnerships that are being deployed right now and what is to come from that, not let alone the capital investment that's also going to open up into these assets. I look at this and go, not only do we have a bullish pattern here, we also have a bullish landscape looking forward. So to me, this is a great opportunity zone for Eigen. This is on the 3-day chart. So what is it looking like on a little bit smaller time frame? Well, we got a very ugly kind of sideways range here, right? But we know what this level is. This is that level, that larger resistance level that we have broken out of. And we attempted to break down. And yet what we've actually done is break out. We attempted to break down twice here, formed a W formation. And in so doing, we also have this downtrend here that we have broken out of. So is this mean where all systems go? I don't think we're quite there yet, but I think this is a very, very particular asset for me that I'm watching as, basically loading some up here. If this comes back down in here, it gets another washout to the downside. Some great opportunity zones to stack in before this thing very likely is heating up to run away. So very bullish on that. Another one is Cardano. Cardano is making some waves out there. And one of those waves is this right here. The relentless exchange outflows since its peak. What are we talking about? This is the peak right here. Price action peaked. And notice these red lines. Not all red lines are bad. All red lines matter. Okay? And they matter in different ways. These red lines are net flow to or off of exchange. Are coins flowing into exchange? Are coins flowing off of exchange? Coins flowing off of exchange is what you want to see. That means we're not looking to trade these right now. We're putting them in our wallets. We're going to hold for a bit. It's a bit of a nuanced implication in the market, but it tends to have pretty strong implications. Okay? It's not always going to hit, but what we're seeing is since this peaked, we're seeing a pretty sustained outflow on Cardano. So let's go over to the price. Is it represented in the price yet? There's fundamental data that is giving a highlight about some of the things going on with the ecosystem, right? And yet we're not seeing it in the price yet. I like that. I want to see the fundamentals growing in strength and positive statistical probability, delivering positive outlook. I want to see those things start piling up and like building this bullish tension that once the world recognizes it, then the market runs. I want to be in before those big runners. So what we see here is, yes, this is looking a little weak here. Nice push up, fail. Nice push up, fail. Very weak push up. In fact, lower highs here, double top in just in this most what's the word? Recent little double top here, most recent pattern and a breakdown. So what we're seeing right now is two opportunities. One is this is the bottom. Let me move that. One is this potentially being the bottom, which is where this is bounce. We get a triple bottom, potentially then move out of this, or this breaks down and continues further lower. So what are we seeing? Let's go to the 3-day chart and see, because we saw the outflows and we're also seeing an outflow of money. So we're not seeing immediate near signs of that boom right now. But what we're looking at is what we want to do for the position for the next couple weeks into October, into November. Is October coming? Because the data suggests October is one of the most bullish months in the crypto ecosystem, especially at this time in the cycle. So with money flowing out on the 3-day chart, with a lot of the different things that Charles Hoskinson is doing with Midnight and some of the other much more positive crypto ecosystem integrations with RLUSD and XRP and chain, they're working towards potentially getting some things going with Chainlink. But what we're seeing here is a bullish. I see this as a fake out pattern. I see this as they're trying to tell you it's going to go lower. So if it does, I'm going to be there for it. But I'm seeing this more likely that they're going to try and fake the community out, dip, come back up, and then rip out of that. That's my estimation of what's most likely, because you see things like Avalanche. We see these patterns playing out, boom, to the upside. We see Aster absolutely mooning from about, it was like $150 million market cap September 17th, and now it's $3.8 billion. So there's been liquidity in these markets, guys. Avalanche has got a little bit of that nod. Aster's got quite a bit of that nod. We see this pattern, and I've shown this for a few days. We've seen this pattern across some other assets. Ondo has nearly the same pattern, except it has not resulted in upside price action yet. Does that mean Ondo sucks? Does that mean Ondo's over? Well, they just launched global markets with over 100 plus different tokenized stocks, and they already are dominating in U.S. treasuries. But what they're doing, this to me is buy the rumor, sell the news. But I do think, based on what we're seeing with Avalanche, I think we're going to start seeing some of this capital excitement in other aspects of the ecosystem. And remember, Anthony Scaramucci also is now doing the Avalanche treasury company as well. Right before fall sounds like a blessing. We will have an extended cycle. There are substantially better manipulators working these markets for big money players. That's right. Everyone was expecting November 1st, 2025. I'm guessing December to January. But well, let's see. Let's see if we do get a top this cycle, or if we just continue to stair step up with 20 to 35% pullbacks along the way. This is why we need to watch these markets daily, because this entire crypto market is an emerging asset class. And then you come back over to Aster and look at that. It's just talk about rocket candles. Holy malarkey. But let's look at it. We saw this. I think I showed this yesterday. Basically, it was just a giant bull flag. That target on the bull flag is up here at, about 450. Now, is it going to play out? When the price was here, I was like, there's no way it's going to have that same amount of momentum. And it doesn't. And I can tell you why. First off, this is so simple. Let's look at the angle. Let's look at the angle of the price action. What is the angle of this price action? Is it the same angle or is it weaker? It is weaker. However, even with this weaker price action, in terms of the momentum up, I'm still confoundedly astounded by this incredible market performance of this asset. And not only that, we see a beautiful, look at this, picture perfect breakout, retest, launch. Oops, not the trend line launch. Breakout, retest, launch. And in so doing, forming a bit of an inverse head and shoulders, giving it further bullishness there. At the same time, money flow just pouring. Look at this, money flow increasing all the way from here on price action all the way to here. Even on this pullback, you're seeing increases in money flow through that, giving you more confidence about that move. And then similar, like what we were seeing on Avalanche with that similar pattern, near protocol. Also very similar. When we come back right here to the 8-hour, double click here, we see, look at this. It's just rounding bottom. Let's turn off, let's see. this rounding bottom with a kind of an ugly inverse head and shoulders, come back down to near. Doesn't look that much different, right? This has not made the move yet. I think the moves are setting up and everybody keeps over leveraging themselves and you get these big liquidations because everybody in the market is being a jackwad. Let's not give free liquidity to the big money players. Let's realize people are going to be stupid in these markets, over leveraged, over excited, over emotional, and take advantage of the movements as they come. Because golly, guys, I mean, I really do think this is going to this is going to shock some people when it does make its move. Because we get back over here, we look at BNB. BNB, just look at this. Descending trend line breakout, descending trend line breakout, push up, descending trend line breakout. Are we about to form another one of these descending trend lines? That next move, I mean, this is pushing up. And is there a little bit of a bearish divergence? Sure. But we also see more money. There's more money here than there was over here. See how this is higher? More money flow. It's that simple to read. Then you come over here and look at injective. Injective looks ugly, kind of like what we saw on Cardano. See? Pattern. What do we see on injective? Same thing. I feel like they're going to trap people on any move down before it comes up and launches because we have a fairly bearish signal here. But we also see the RSI has already gone into oversold, but money flow is still coming out. So there's some things to be determined on some of these assets. But I do think that overarchingly, the market is leaning in. There's kind of like a quiet bullishness that's brewing underneath this market, within this market. And people don't understand it because they see price action and they think that's just the absolute determiner of the state of the market. And it's not. It's not, especially right now when the markets are chopping in such bizarre ways in both traditional assets as also with Bitcoin, crypto Bitcoin as a global asset with the US's backing is only less than a year old. Now, it's been a global asset for 16 years, right? But it's been in the face of the US being very resistant to it, or at least not, closing people's bank accounts down, regulatory questions, issues, limiting of money and investment. There's so much concern around it. And because of all that, institutional money wasn't a part of it. Now institutional money is, corporate money is. ETF flows are insane, breaking every record that exists for traditional asset ETFs. We're seeing the awakening of this market right now. And I do think we are in for an incredible October into November. The question is going to be, what are we doing around November into December? And we have to, one, sort out what our strategy is as it looks right now. What's your strategy? And as we get into October and the landscape shifts along the way, you also adjust your strategy. You know, a great analogy on this market right now. Everybody has a strategy until you get punched in the face. So although right now you need to be looking at what your take profit strategy is going to be, what you're rebalancing a portfolio from altcoins back into Bitcoin, whatever you're doing in this market, have that strategy now, especially as you enter each asset. And if you've already entered, ask yourself, what's your roadmap? What are you doing? But also realize you're going to get punched in the mouth by this market. This market is like being on a team with Leroy Jenkins. Remember that clip where everybody had a plan and then he just ran into the room and then everybody, all those characters in the World of Warcraft got killed? It's because there was a wrench thrown into the plan that affected not only him, but the other assets around him, his other characters. Similarly, in this market right now with Bitcoin, with Ethereum, with Cardano, with Eigen, whatever assets you're talking about in the crypto ecosystem, have your plan. Know you're going to adjust it along the way, but adjust it based on data metrics, not your hope and your fear, because that's not what's going to make you money in this market. But I love you guys. I appreciate you. I hope you have an absolutely wonderful day. I'm going to be running here. I've got some things I'm going to be doing in the Discord tomorrow and Friday. So make sure you're getting in there. Those links are down in the description below. Shout out to everybody on YouTube, on X, on Pump Fun. I really do appreciate each and every one of you. This market's getting excited. It's really getting exciting. Make sure no matter what you're doing with crypto, protect your crypto. Protect your future. If you are involved in crypto and you do not have a cold storage wallet, get your little butt over to getarculus.com. Use code DC20, get 20% off. It's the best crypto cold storage solution there is. I really do recommend it. We all have them here at the office as well. That's why we're partners with them. They are phenomenal. And along the way, while you're navigating this market, make sure you're doing it smart. Do not leave millions of dollars on the table because you are ignorant to what you could be doing to, I don't want to say shelter yourself from taxes, but be smart about how you're trading. Why not throw some in a long-term portfolio? Head over to bitcoinira.com. Give them a call. Let them know Kelly Kellum sent you. Let them know Discover Crypto sent you. 1-877-936-7175. Retirement accounts are boring. Well, they're not if you are trading up to 80 different cryptocurrencies. If you're already day trading and you also have a vision of being alive in the future, if you're in the US, take advantage of the tools that are available to you. Get in there, trade, the maximum amount allowed. I think it's like 7,500. It's not like it's your whole portfolio for some of you. For some of you, it may be, but you can day trade your altcoins in there and then, take profits into Bitcoin. And that's not a taxable event. So you get to save tens of thousands into the hundreds of thousands and millions over the course of what that's going to mean, rather than giving away 20 or 30% of all your short-term investor gains every time you're taking a trade, day trading, not being smart about how you're managing your money. So head over to bitcoinira.com, give them a call, 1-877-936-7175. But everybody, let's remember to stay vigilant. The market comes down and tests these short-term holder cost bases regularly. Here, chop people out. We're just testing that again, even with a bit of a dip. I'm so bullish about where this market is going. And the last chart we'll show you here, S&P 500. This does not look weak, right? Does not look weak. Tesla, striving to get back towards new highs. Amazing. Others chart. Let's get out to the 3-day. That's excluding the top 10. Where are we at? Boom. This is fake run. I think we're setting up that major run that we've talked about before. I think it's on this chart right here. Let's come over here. Others. Is this it? That's not what I want to do. Here, right here. Right here. There we go. 3-day, double click. I thought I had it drawn out there. But this move right here, this was 2019. 2019, the setup before this 2020, 2021 run. Boom. Look at this. Push up, breakdown, a little sideways pump. Push up, breakdown, a little sideways. Maybe it's going to be sideways for another month or 2 or 3, but I still think we're getting that major leg to the upside. But make sure no matter what you're doing, you're keeping your focus on how you can take profits into Bitcoin, how you can make sure you're locking in your future, because we've got a hell of a ride here in the crypto ecosystem. But that's all I got today, everybody. I love you. I appreciate you. Hope you all have an absolutely wonderful, wonderful day. Find some gratitude for yourself today. Find some gratitude for somebody in your life that's frustrating you. Let's just move together forward effectively and with reason and with strategy and with responses rather than reactions. Because if you can do it more and more so in your real life with even your friends, family, lovers, friends, pets, strangers, respond to people, because that's also going to impact how you interact in these charts, whether you are responding or reacting. Reactions always bring out the worst outcomes. Responses always have a better way of landing, whether it's with people or with your trades in the markets. But that's all I got, everybody. And I'll see you tomorrow. Adios.
We just wanted to take a quick second to shout out our sponsor, Arculus. They are a cold storage hardware wallet, helps you secure all of your digital assets for the future. Just tap this thing to the back of your phone and boom, you're in. We wouldn't be able to do this without them, but also wouldn't be able to do this without you guys, the Disco fam. You've supported us a lot over the years. If you want to support the channel now, just use the code DC20. It gets you 20% off this card. It's the #1 way you can support this channel going forward. Thank you for your support. We'll see you at the top.